Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob Ent podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. Tonight, for those that are watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening, you don't see it, but we have a guest on tonight, somebody that's very near and dear to my heart. Grew up with the whole family. This is going back to 93, 94. We talking about in the 90s. Singer, actor, model, everything that you could think about in the arts and in the entertainment space she has done, she is doing. None other than Jocelyn Creekmur. How are you doing?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me on the pod. That was such a nice introduction. I feel so special. Thank you.
Family, of course. And I never knew. I was telling my wife, I'm like, hold up. I'm seeing you in commercials. I didn't know this was in the bag growing up. I never knew. Like, we never had discussions on what you wanted to do when you were growing up. And I'm like, okay, she in this commercial, she in this short film. Like, oh, let me see if I can get her on before she blow up. Get her on the pod now. When they do her doc, they might show some clips like, yo, this is one of her first podcasts she was on. So yeah, I had to get you on. Speaking of though, like I didn't know this. I see the work, see the modeling, I see everything you're doing. When did you know that you wanted to be in the arts industry, acting, modeling, singing? When did you actually know that?
I would say when I was like 5 or 6, my mom put me in dance. She put me in a dance school. And actually, I got introduced to the arts in church. Okay, let's start there. Okay, the choir, the church plays, the music, the praise dancing. I was introduced to it through church, but my mom had put me in a dance school, and that's how I started training with dance. But I was so shy. Like I never wanted to actually pursue it. So I didn't actually take an acting class until like high school. But up until that point, like when I was young, I knew I wanted to be on stage. I literally was thinking about this question. I was like, when I was little, me and my cousins on my mom's side, we used to dance with each other. We used to put on little skits. We used to dance against each other, do little dance battles. Like we was in it. And from that moment on, I was just like, I know I have to do this. So when I went to high school and I got the opportunity to take an acting class, that just sealed the deal for me. So I was like, I'm going to college for this. Like I gotta do it. So that was since I was young, really.
So you mentioned something right there. You said originally, you were shy, right? What helped you actually break out of that shell to be like, you know what? I'm gonna actually try to do this.
My passion for it, there have been a couple of teachers that I've been exposed to and had the pleasure of being in class with that have told me that there are actually some like shy actors, like some shy famous people. Like they know how to turn it off and then turn it on. But I grew out of that just in practice of performing, like being in acting class in high school and having to get up and perform. Eventually you come out of your shell, and I'm still an introvert. I still like to be by myself. I still like to have my own me time, be quiet, but I know how to turn it off and I know how to turn it on. You know what I mean? So eventually I grew out of that. And there are still like I'm myself and I feel like I'm getting shy, but I try and turn that off. You know what I mean? So yeah, it just comes with a lot of performing. The more you perform, the more you get in front of people, the more that kind of goes away. The more you grow out of it.
So it's the reps, the amount of reps that you do builds the confidence, helps with that. I know maybe I would have been the same path as you. I didn't do the reps. They had me one time when I went to public school, 8th grade. The teacher said she saw something in me and made me play Michael Jackson and do the Thriller dance. I bombs. I absolutely bombed. And it sucked because she chose me, and there was a kid in the school that everybody knew
Mm-hmm.
was the biggest Michael Jackson fan. So he's in the crowd doing the dance correctly. I'm up there nervous. It was
Why
so bad. I'm never.
that? Why they do that?
I was like,
What?
I'm never doing that aspect again. Acting, I took acting classes in high school and whatnot. I actually liked that aspect and doing skits and stuff like that. But that part, the dancing, was like never again. I was getting booed. Kids was like, "Oh, why did he go?" And I'm like, "I didn't choose this." I think the teacher was kind of trying to do what your teachers were doing and trying to get me out of that shell. Cause I was a
Okay.
class clown, so I had the
Yeah.
charisma and stuff, but the dancing, I was like, nah. I was like, never,
All
ever
right.
again. You mentioned your passion, right? I saw a quote you put up literally, I think it was yesterday. I wanted you to break down and share to me what it meant to you. Acting is not about being famous, it's about exploring the human soul.
Okay. Let me break this down. Break it down. Okay, so whenever I tell someone that I went to school for theater and I want to pursue this as a career, they're like, "Oh my goodness, you're about to be famous. Let me get your autograph right now." Like, oh my, I'm just like, whoa, chill, 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 chill. Like, there are so many working actors right now that you would never know that are on TV, that are on Broadway, that are performing 8 times a week and are making a good living. Like, can go to the grocery store and not be known. Like, that's what I'm going for. Like, I don't need to be famous. I honestly don't feel like I would be a great famous person anyway. But in terms of how acting really helps your soul, whenever I think of the word like soul, I think of your emotions, your will, your perspective, your thoughts. And I honestly feel like if anyone asks me what's my favorite thing to do out of all of the things that I do, singing, dancing, acting, it would have to be acting because I feel like it makes me a better person and it helps me grow and it changes my perspective because acting is an act of selflessness. When you take on a character and when you're trying to play this character, you know, a lot of the times I'm playing a character that's completely opposite from myself. So I can't go and read the script and look at this character and be like, well, Jocelyn wouldn't do that. Jocelyn wouldn't say that. Jocelyn, it's just like I'm coming towards the character. I'm looking at this character with a lot of judgment. So I have to put myself aside and be selfless enough to and be compassionate enough to understand why my character is acting this way or why is my character talking this way or why does my character look this way. So that translates into my real life now because now if someone does something to me that I don't like or if someone acts a certain way, I don't immediately judge them. I want to know, okay, what makes them tick? Why did they say that? I come with a little bit more compassion. And even like some actors will say, because I've seen a lot of different interviews of actors talking about how it takes a lot of vulnerability. Actors are storytellers, and we're the brave ones. We're the ones on stage. We're the ones on the camera crying or being mad. We're displaying and showing a lot of emotion that takes a lot of vulnerability. And I think vulnerability makes you a stronger person. I don't know if you've heard of Tim Ross and his podcast, The Basement, but he talks a lot about vulnerability. He talks about how vulnerability is your superpower. And I just feel like actors are the most superheroes ever. We're telling true stories, but in front of everybody else, which can be such a scary thing. And that takes a level of selflessness to do that. So acting definitely has to be my favorite thing to do. And I think that's what that quote means to me too. It's not about being famous. I think if you really give yourself to the art, if you really give yourself to the craft, you will grow as a person. And I think if you're in it to be famous, that's the wrong intention. You may not last long because you're not really trying to get anything out of it. Because every role that I play, every production that I do, I try and take something from it. What can I learn from this character? Even though this character may be completely the complete opposite of myself, what can I take from this? So that when I go into the next production or just in my everyday life, like, what can I take from this? So it helps me grow.
I think that's a great perspective. And my wife will tell you, anybody that knows me will tell you, I am a movie, TV show junkie. And obviously, I do not work at IMDb. I do not work at Rotten Tomatoes, but I feel I have a good gauge on when actors are actually killing it. And to your point of the aspect of, I find as one of the hardest things to do is you're
Mhm.
embodying that character. And you, if anybody pay attention and have heard actors that, like you said, are famous and known, they say how difficult it is and how draining it could be actually on the mental and the physical to be able to be like, I had Keandra Richardson on, and she was telling me how Terrence Howard was telling her, like, yo, you have to make sure that you take care of yourself, because in Empire, he was high one moment, and then the next scene, he had to come back down here, and then he had to go back up here. Your body doesn't know that you're acting.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
don't think a lot of people understand that aspect and the vulnerability aspect of it too. Like, I'm up here crying. I'm up here playing a role that
Yes.
real life, me, I'm not this character. I'm not. So to be able to do that is huge. Like you
Mhm.
said, the vulnerability aspect of it. That's why I love it. You convinced me that you James St. Patrick in real life. That's who you are. When you do that, to
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
you got me hooked right there.
Mhm. Mhm.
For you, right? So you've been doing it, starting out. You're not doing it to be famous, which I think is key. Because I
Mhm.
hear a lot of famous people say they'll take the wealth, but not the fame, because it's not all that is caked up to be.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite role that you've done so far?
The one that I just did. um, man, okay. I'm gonna try to describe a little bit of it without giving too much away, because I want y'all to watch it on Tubi when it comes out. Okay, but I will say that stretched me a lot. Oh my goodness. And the role that I just did um really made me realize what you was just saying, how draining it is, like mentally and emotionally and physically. Like, I'll just say this. The character that I played, she had to make a decision whether or not to abort a baby or keep it. And so I did a lot of research on like Planned Parenthood and clinics, and like what goes into an abortion and everything like that. And that can be a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. So I felt like I had a lot of pressure, but that was probably the hardest, but also the most enjoyable though. Like, as hard and as challenging as it is, I like the challenge because it stretches you so much as an actor. Um, yeah, I kind of forgot your question midway. You said what was your favorite one so far?
Yeah, so far.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my favorite one. I don't want to give too much away, but it's called Losing My Pride. I'm playing Mariah, and it's coming out in the spring on Tubi. So yeah, that would probably be my favorite one so far. Um, yeah, it stretched me.
So we will make sure we put that in the description. And when
Put
it
it in.
drops, we'll make sure we're gonna
Yeah.
post it as a reminder when it drops, to make sure all of y'all go see it and check it out. That's
Yes.
really dope. And I know, from knowing you personally, I know how much that definitely was a stretch. That definitely was, that put some work in. So I'm excited to see that, because
Whew.
to play that role, knowing you growing up, I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
I
That's
know
what
you
I'm
bodied it.
That's what I'm saying. You got to be so selfless because me, you know. But yeah, that role, it was fun. It was challenging. I learned so much about myself. Yeah. And that's when I found out, you know what, Jocelyn, this is what you need to be doing. This is what you need to be doing. You in the right business. This is what you need to be doing. Mm-hmm.
That's always good, getting that confirmation of, hey, that I'm on the right path. For you, right, with acting, being that that's the favorite out of the trio, the four of everything that you do, the multiple hats that you wear, What do you do to actually hone your craft and to master it and to be better at it? Like you said, the goal isn't the fame, but you trying to be the best actor that you can be possible. How do you actually hone that craft?
And just by going to class, honestly, and try and get in where I can fit in. I don't make a lot of money. I still have a part-time job, so I'm juggling both of them at the same time, like my career and working. So I have to try and balance because, like you said, I do a little bit of everything. So there are times where I have to plan out weeks where I'm taking dance classes, and then um like right now I'm taking an improv class, a 6-week improv class. So planning that out, and then I have vocal lessons. So I just try to contribute a little bit each week to training, because you want to keep that in practice. You want to continue to do that so that you can grow. And I think for me personally, it helps to go to class. Some people like to train at home. Like there's so many, you can go on YouTube University, right? There's nothing that you can't learn on YouTube. So people can do vocalises or vocal warm-ups on YouTube. You can take a whole dance lesson on YouTube. You could do an acting lesson or watch an acting class on YouTube. But for me personally, I just feel more comfortable being in class and actually working together with other people, because I just feel like there's so many benefits to being in class with other people. You meet people, you're not by yourself, you have other people watching you, giving you advice, giving you critiques, how you can be better. So I think the best way I try and hone in on that craft is just going to class, meeting teachers, getting their advice, and doing the homework at home so that when I come to class the next time, you will step up. You're just a little bit better.
Everybody's learning style is different. So some are better in person, some can do it virtually. Everybody's learning style is different. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, find out what works best for you. Now, a lot of times we get into certain fields, we get into our dreams and our careers, and we get there and we're like, this isn't what I expected, or I didn't think this was going to happen, or I didn't know this about it. For you, was there anything that once you got into it, you get your first role, you're doing this, you're in the commercial, you're modeling. Is there anything in that space that you were kind of surprised of once you actually graduated college and was doing it full time? Well, part time, but you're doing it full time.
hmm Um, there were a couple of things. I was unaware, or I was ignorant to like the business side of it. Because I think when you're up and coming, you're just so eager and so excited to work. Like, oh my goodness, I'm in my first commercial, or oh my goodness, I made it in front of the screen. Oh my goodness, I'm on stage. And people can take advantage of that. People can see your eagerness or see your ambition and try and take advantage of you or not pay you your money. There was a time, I had one experience where I had did a short film and I had to send out a whole bunch of emails just to get paid. Or working with people that weren't, I won't say they were mean, but just kind of like, they weren't really, because when I try and work with people, I try and talk to them, especially if you're doing scenes with them. You want to kind of get to know them, to get a little comfortable, so it helps the scene. And I've been in productions or been on set where people just don't pay you no mind. I was a little naive to that, but I also didn't know, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think going to college and majoring as a BA theater studies, I think I was so focused on the performance side of things, I didn't realize there were other jobs in theater that you can make a good living off of. Like, I didn't know what a was. I didn't know that you could be a lighting designer, a set designer. You can go to school and be a costume designer. You can make a whole career out of that. So I was like, well, even if I changed my mind, I didn't want to act ever again, I was introduced to directing and playwriting and so many other things that happen behind the scene that you could be a part of and still make a good penny. Like those people, those are like life jobs. stage managers, you know, costume directors, they make good money. You catch a Broadway show and you're a costume director, that's some good money. So, those are some going into it that I didn't know. But if there's any like actors listening to this or any entertainers, people who want to get in the music business or whatever, understand the business. Like understand the whole role of the casting directors, the managers, how much you're supposed to take out, the agents and everything, so that people don't take advantage of you. And if you're first starting out and you're trying to take class, learn about the class. There are scams out here where people will promote class and say, oh, if you take this class and pay a certain amount, we'll guarantee you a spot on Disney Channel, or we'll guarantee you. And people be so naive about it. You know, they just want to be on TV, you know. So you gotta learn about the business. You gotta learn about the scams and stuff out there, so you're not just like giving your money away or letting people use you.
That's, I think, great advice across the board, and anything that you get into is the business side of it. Especially like you even mentioned, like the music business. The stories that I've heard and the documentary that I've seen, very nasty business. Very, very nasty business. How they treat artists. And I can only imagine on the acting side what it's like, also to your point of people try to take advantage of you actually being eager and happy to be trying to pursue your dreams, and will try to take advantage of that,
Mhm.
which is nasty work. That's disgusting.
Man, I'm so grateful for my mom because she actually stay on top of it more than I do. I had took this class with a coach down in Philly, and she was asking me so many questions. I was just like, mommy, like but I get it because she's like, well, is he reputable? Like, does he teach other people, or like where's he from? Where, you know, so having people, either you gonna learn about the business or somebody else that's close to you that's supporting you need to learn about it, because you can't get into this naive. People can sniff you out. So yeah.
Shout out to moms. If y'all don't know the Creekmores personally, but I do. Moms is on it, pops is on it for
Yes.
sure. So
Yes.
shout out to them. You need that support system. And I
Dude.
know for a fact they really good at that. They
They
really good at that.
are. I'm so grateful for my parents. So grateful because there's so many people that I've met that want to do this and can't because they just don't have the support of their parents. So I'm so grateful for the role that they are playing in my journey, for the role that they've always played, you know? So I'm so grateful for my parents because not everybody has it like that.
Not everybody does, especially when you starting off in most
Mm-hmm.
fields. Is not um most parents, rightfully so, and sometimes with the wrong intentions. Oh, you need to don't chase that dream. It's not making $1 million as soon as you graduate college. And like you
Yeah.
said, a lot of people don't have that opportunity. If you not I don't see you at a premiere as one of the top actors. A lot of people get to they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I had to stop chasing it. My family didn't support it."
And it's
Ex-
stacked good actors too. Like, you know how many times I work with people in college and we do a show together and they killing it. And I'm like, girl, you need to do this. Like, I want to see you up there. No, my major is English. My parents don't want me to do it. I was like, what? What? You're an you're a math major? Like, girl, the way you can sing or the way you can dance, the way you tore that monologue up, you telling me you I oh my, that just makes me even more thankful for my parents, because like they're actually the ones that be pushing me. They're the ones. My dad, you got any auditions coming up? What you doing? You got, why you not in rehearsal? You taking a break? Don't give up. I want to see you. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm just so thankful for my parents. So, unfortunately some people got it like that, but I have worked with so many people and it's just like, dang, you a math major? That's what you doing? No hate on the math, but it's like, dang.
Yes, it's a lot of people, unfortunately, that go to the grave with a gift that they never got to use
Yeah.
for one reason or another. Go to the grave and didn't get to use what some would say actually God intended them to do. In some cases, I put you on this earth to go act your butt off. This is why I put you here. And some people don't don't pursue that because it's not as safe, this, that, and the third. It's a bunch of different reasons. And for you, how has faith played a role in your career so far and just your life in general?
Oh, I feel like my faith has actually gotten better since I've been doing it. And I'll say because I feel like I'm Gideon. Like you know how Gideon, God was calling him to lead the children of Israel against the Philistines, and Gideon was like, "Me? Nah, God, you must be talking about somebody. You ain't talking about me. If it's me, then show me. I'm gonna put this fleece down, and everything else around it better be wet, and this fleece better be dry. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me just make sure again. Wait, let me just make sure a third time. You sure you were talking about?" And I'm that type. This is another reason why I'm not in this to be famous. Like I honestly love the art of acting because I don't need to be in the front. I don't need to be the main character. Like I'm such an introvert. The biggest introvert you will ever meet. Like I don't need to be in the spot. Like I don't need to be, but it's like not every time. I'm not saying every audition I get, but there were roles where I was intending to go for someone, a character much less, and God was like, "No, you gonna be the lead with this. Like I need you to be a part of this production. I need you to shine your light. Like I need you here for this. I need my glory to be revealed through you in this production." And I'm just like, God, I just wanted to be the main. I just wanted to be the background. I just wanted to play the extra. Like, why? Why? So I think God doing that in my life has number one showed me my potential. Because a lot of times people will tell me, "Oh wow, you're so talented. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you. Thanks." And sometimes I don't see my own potential. And it's not until like I actually have that role and I'm watching myself and I'm like, "Oh wow, like okay, now I see what you guys are talking about." And it's also giving me an opportunity to depend on God, because the extra roles, the background roles, the ensemble roles, that's not that it's easy, but I feel like I could do that within my own strength. When you're playing somebody that has to abort their baby, or someone who has to decide whether to keep a baby or abort it, now I can't do that within my own strength. That's hard for me. So when God give me roles like that, it's like, okay, God, I'm gonna have to ask you to help me do this. And it's a humbling experience because I know I can't do it without God. I know I didn't qualify for this. I know, like, God, why you want me to play this? Why? You know what I mean? So I think my relationship with God, or my faith, has definitely gotten better, or deeper, I'll say, because I think growing up, we both grew up in church. So it's like, yeah, I'm Christian. I go to church. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to be so dependent on my parents' salvation. And I think doing the auditions and getting these specific roles, being introduced to people, being in places I wasn't necessarily qualified to be in, has definitely given me confidence in the gift that God has given me. It's shown me that God's favor is on my life. I understand what that scripture says in Psalm 23, goodness and mercy is literally following me. So I'm thankful. God is doing what he want to do, and I think I'm learning now, don't sell yourself short. Don't go just for the little background roles. Like give God an opportunity to show himself to you, and work through you. So it has definitely, my faith has definitely gotten deeper. So I'm thankful for the experiences.
That's funny you mentioned that because you said a lot right there. I was at a men's conference this past weekend, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the speakers was saying that God needs bodies, of course, to
Yeah.
really just show up and show out on the earth. But it's not what happens in the Christian faith a lot of times, specifically the black church. Not so much other churches that, I'm not a part of those churches, so I don't know. But being that we have an experience of the black church, the pinnacle, oftentimes, the pinnacle is to be on that pulpit,
Mm-hmm.
to be a pastor, to be an apostle, to be a deacon, to be a prophet. But actually, God needs doctors.
Yeah.
He needs lawyers. He needs judges. He needs actors. He needs fashion designers because he was breaking it down of saying that he will use you to show off him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting you into your point. It's great. You have that humble approach to the whole experience, to everything that you're doing. But within that, like you said, I want you, Jocelyn, to get that front row because I know once you're there, you have no problem talking about me. You have no problem giving me the glory in it, which is why it's like when it talked about when Jesus was baptized, he said, "This is my son who I am well pleased in." Back in that time period of the Jewish culture, when they did that and the father took their son around, it was co-signing, saying, "Look, when you see them, you see me." Same is as his children. When you see Jocelyn on that stage, you see me.
Yes.
That
Yes.
breakdown, I was like, "Oh, that's
That's deep.
ooh."
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
deep." And
Yeah.
the creator of all chose me, chose Jocelyn, and he believes in us. All
Yes.
right, you should move differently then, not in arrogance. You're still humble, but knowing that the creator of everything,
Mm-hmm.
before we were born, before even your parents thought about having kids, he already ordained that you would be on that stage.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I trust you, God. My
And
bad.
in my mind, because it's just like I know on paper I'm not qualified for this. I know I'm not qualified for this. But what they say, he don't call the qualified, he choose what they be saying. He chooses them. You don't have to be qualified. You just chosen. So you can just walk up in there. God open the door for you. You don't need no qualification. You don't need the right paperwork. He opened the door for you. So that's been my experience a lot of the times. And I have to be humble because just like I know I ain't get myself here. I couldn't. God literally gave me this. I could not. If it was dependent on my resume or my reel or whatever, sometimes I'd be like, all these people audition and you allowed them to pick me? Shook. It's a it's a humbling experience. So
And that's perfect. You mentioned Gideon because that's what it was. Gideon was from the smallest tribe. So same
mm-hmm.
thing. I'm not quite. You want me to lead Israel from the
Ooh,
smallest tribe?
what?
I'm not qualified, but you gonna call those that say yes though. You say yes, let me handle the rest. So far in your career, right? What has been the best piece of advice that you've received?
Um, to learn to let it go. And I'm gonna explain that. A lot of times, when you go to an audition and you don't get cast or you have a bad audition, I'll speak for myself personally, you're a little upset about it. And this business has a lot to do with rejection. You're gonna get rejected a lot. You're gonna hear a lot of no's. But you gotta let that go because if you hold on to it, you're gonna distract yourself from receiving what's next. You know what I mean? So I give myself like this 24-hour rule. So if I go to an audition, I feel like I did a bad job, or even if I feel like I did a good job and I didn't get cast, take some time to grieve it. Because obviously, if I'm auditioning for it, I want it. I wanted to audition. I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to solve your problem. I wanted to be the character that you were looking for. But unfortunately, I wasn't. So I'm kind of sad about it. And I have, through my experience, I've realized that if I stay too, if I am sad about it too much or I'm sad about it too long, I'm going into the next audition with negative thoughts like, oh, the last people didn't cast me. Maybe I'm not good, or maybe I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't know it. So it's just like, okay, Jocelyn, you messed up. You didn't like how that audition turned out. What's something that we can learn from it? If you need to cry, cry. Be sad about it. Give yourself time to grieve it, so that when the next audition comes, you're not holding all that negative energy, all that those negative thoughts, carrying that into the room with you, because they can sense that. You want to walk into the room confident. That's what I've been taught. Walk into the room confident, even if this is your fifth one and they've said no, one, two, three, and fourth, in the fourth time. If the fifth time you walk in the audition, walk in there confidently. And in order to do that, for me, I have to just let go of the previous no. I have to let go of the previous rejection, because you gotta let go of what didn't happen so you can receive what's next. So you can receive the opportunity that is for you. So the biggest advice I've gotten is learning how to let go.
At this point, if you haven't caught nothing, if you haven't caught not a gem of wisdom, nothing, that right there, for those that never went to church, that's the point where we be like, we gotta pass the collection plate. That's the pass the collection plate right there.
Oh my
That's the
gosh.
title of the episode right there.
Let
I
go.
always pay attention when I'm interviewing people. That
Yeah.
one thing that's like, oh, there you go. That's the
Yeah.
title right there. Learn to
Yes.
let it go. There we
Yes.
go.
That's in life. Even if you're not a actor, rejection happens to everybody. Even if you're not in the entertainment industry, you know what I mean. Another thing that I've been learning from Tim Ross, and I should honestly be getting paid. I'm over here promoting his little podcast or whatever. But another thing that he talks about along with vulnerability is being able to grieve. I think a lot of times we're so scared of our emotions that we try and suppress. Like, I used to be that type of person. I'm not crying. I'm thugging it out. I ain't crying. I ain't sad. I ain't mad. And it's just like, Jocelyn, yes, you are. Yes, you are. You really wanted that role and you didn't get it. It's okay to be sad. Give yourself some time, let it go. And that's the same thing in life. If you didn't get the job that you wanted, if you didn't get the girl that you wanted, didn't get the boy that you wanted, whatever, whoever is listening, if you didn't get, the team onto the team that you wanted to get into after the tryouts, let it go. Learn from it. And because you got more work to do now. If you too pre-consumed with what didn't happen, you can't refocus to make sure you're working on what needs to happen, you know? So that's just a life lesson, not just for actors, but in life.
That's all facts right there. And it's funny you said that. I'm gonna bring up the men's conference again. Shout out to Lou. If you end up watching this, I appreciate you putting that together. One of the speakers said something that was really real. He said they asked him about he went through a divorce. They asked him how he went through it and whatnot. He said one of the things that I learned in this process when I went through my divorce, that I had to be okay with feeling my feelings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's great. And I had to literally do that today with my wife. Like, you know, this happened, didn't like it. I'm just calling and tell you how I feel so I don't keep it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's huge. Like you said, it's a life lesson. You be okay with feeling your feelings. Talk
Yeah.
about it. Express it. Don't hold it in.
Mm-hmm.
And you holding it in also isn't good for your health. They broke it down that you holding it in causes stress, causes inflammation. And one of the main things that causes diseases is comes from inflammation. So you kind of killing yourself holding it.
Hey, that's why I think that also attributes to not only stress, but one of my coworkers was telling me Alzheimer's too, like a lot of stress, or like holding in a lot of anger. So there's a lot of studies out there about how emotions affects your overall health. So yeah, check yourself, let it go. Don't allow your emotions to like dictate you. They're indicators. It's telling you something. Don't
Hey,
control.
y'all let me know in the comments if you want her Cash App or her Venmo or anything like that. Because that was a good one right there too. That your emotions are your indicators. Don't let
Yes.
your emotions actually run and rule you. But that's a whole nother episode. That's a whole nother.
That's a sermon right there. Somebody better snatch that out. That's a sermon right there.
Tim Ross probably gonna see it and it'll be on the next episode.
Yeah. uh,
All right, so we are in the fourth quarter segment, which is more of the kind of the fun segment, rapid fire question, things of that nature. As you know, I am a foodie. I eat for four, even though I do not have the body of somebody that eats for four. I eat for four. So I ask every single guest a food related question. So for you, what is your favorite restaurant that you could eat and never get tired of?
that's so hard. I feel like people gonna hate me if I say this. This is the first thing that came to my mind. Honestly, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. I just love their chicken. Some people may say it's not real. I don't care. They close on Sundays. They holy to me. So Chick-fil-A. But I just like chicken. I like chicken. Chicken is my favorite food. And I know that's so stereotypical because I'm black, but I love chicken. And any place that has chicken, I'm down. Good chicken though, because not everybody can cook good chicken. It needs to be seasoned, of course. But I just like chicken. And I like Chick-fil-A. I don't eat a lot of junk food, but if I had to pick like a fast food, it would be Chick-fil-A. But that's the first thing that comes to mind.
So you pull up at Chick-fil-A, what's your order?
I'm getting a lot. I'm getting the fries. I'm getting the chicken sandwich, and I'm getting the nuggets as well. Yes,
Chick-fil-A sauce or the Polynesian or a different one?
the Chick-fil-A sauce.
Okay. So I'm not disagreeing with that pick either. When I worked in Jersey City, me and my guy Brandon, at least 3 times a week for breakfast, we was going to Chick-fil-A across the street. At least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Anytime our boss was like, "Hey, here's my credit card. You guys sold well this week." About $150 at Chick-fil-A. It was
Easy.
on his card.
Easy.
It was on his card, so tried everything on the menu a couple times, milkshakes and all that.
Yeah, that's free food. That's free food. What?
Your favorite three musical artists?
Um. Kiara Sheard. Kiara Sheard Kelly, because she's married now. Um. Lecrae. I've been a Lecrae fan since 8 years old, since 2008. Number three. Who's the third one? Oh dang. I'm becoming to like Big Breeze. I don't know if you heard of him, Big Breeze, but he's younger and he's a Christian artist from Atlanta. So I'm getting to him. That would probably have to be, I guess, my three top. That is a really hard question. I just hope you know that there's so many that I be listening to. I don't know, but those are my three off the top of my head at the moment.
Yeah, that is a difficult question. I always joke with my wife. I look forward to the end of the year to see what I listen to most from Apple when they come out with the list. Like, oh, okay. Like the last 4 years in a row, the number one artist has been Fred Hammond. I was like, I didn't even know I listen to Fred like that, but
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
last
Oh,
4 years, Fred Hammond, specifically the music we grew up on Fred Hammond. Not saying that anything wrong with now, but the '90s, early 2000s Fred Hammond,
yes. Oh my goodness. My dad has all the albums. All the albums. I
it
understand.
every single time, every single time. Who is your Mount Rushmore of entertainers? I'm gonna say entertainers, being that you dibble dabble in every aspect of entertainment. Your Mount Rushmore of entertainers.
Um, I'm gonna go with some actors. Denzel Washington, uh, Angela Bassett, Viola Davis, and Beyonce.
Goats.
Yeah. Mhm.
Absolute goats with that list. Anybody that sees this, I don't think they would, in their right mind, would have anything to say about that. For you, right? If you had the opportunity to go to the premiere of a movie,
Mhm.
past or present, what movie would you be going to?
Black Panther, the Black Panther premiere. Yeah, I feel like that was just a room full of a premiere full of beautiful Black people, like good supportive Black energy. Like I just would want to be in that room and see all the beautiful Black people dressing. Oh my goodness, in their gowns. I remember a couple of pictures. Angela and Auntie Anne, she slays every red carpet. Every red carpet. I don't know how old she is, 60, 70 years old. I don't even care. She still looks good. So every outfit she had to all the premieres that they went to across the world was top tier. I would want to go to that premiere.
Angela Bassett is the epitome of black does not crack. I'm not sure exactly what age she is, but look, I know the thing. I know the thing nowadays. Oh, my face card valid. Her face card
It's still valid. It's always been. It's always been.
valid. Ending off the show, and again, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to hop on with me for the pod. Ending off with this, your favorite scripture.
Um, for God has not given me a spirit of fear, but a power of love and a sound mind. In 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7.
That's a great one right there. I mean, I always find that interesting to hear people's favorite scriptures because all 66 books is
Yeah,
full of it.
it's hard. It's hard. If I had to get a tat of a scripture, it would probably be that one. It'd probably be that one. Because I think sometimes, when you're performing, or at least for me, sometimes you get nervous. And again, going back to the emotions, you don't want your emotions to control you. So I have to constantly remind myself before I perform, before I go into the audition room, God hasn't given me a spirit of fear. You got to remember who you are. You bring love, you bring peace. The Holy Spirit lives inside of you. Fear has no room. So it's not even for you.
Holy Spirit is there. Holy
Amen.
Spirit is a helper, has you
Mm-hmm.
ready,
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever aspect that you decide to do in life. Holy Spirit is there for you to help you. God got you. And when you show up, you can show out and do your thing because when you actually lock in with God, you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Bench
What?
Mob, we out. Peace.